Hello and welcome to another episode of Page to Screen, the series where I read a book and then watch the movie adaptation or TV show in an attempt to actually get me to watch more movies. It always ends up happening where a book that I'm interested in gets an adaptation, but then I will not watch the adaptation until I've read the book, but then I keep putting off the book and then I just never end up watching or reading it. For this episode, in honor of spooky season, I am going to be reading and watching Clown in a Cornfield by Cesare. This one is a YA horror thriller about this kid who moves to this tiny little farming town, I think is it Missouri, maybe? I don't know. Somewhere in that general area. And she's moving there shortly after a horrible tragedy happened where a kid ended up dying, and all of the adults of the town blame the high schoolers who were at the party where it happened. There's a lot of tension between the kids and the adults, and this new girl and her dad are kind of caught in the middle of that. At the same time, there is a killer clown on the loose. This is not my usual genre. I'm typically not a fan of slasher books. I love slasher movies, but as books, not really my thing. And especially when it comes to YA books, I am really not a fan of YA contemporary stuff where it's a bunch of kids in high school doing high school things. Typically doesn't interest me, but again, I love slasher movies, so I really wanted to see the movie for this one, so I figured I would read the book first and see if I end up actually liking it or not. I have already started this one. I'm about 30% of the way through right now, and so far not loving it, mainly because at 30% of the way through for a horror thriller, I would have expected something to happen, but nothing has happened yet. And in my opinion, 30% is far too long to get into a horror or a thriller and not have anything scary happen. There's been lots of tension between the people, especially the cops and the kids, but aside from that tension, that's all that's happened so far, and there's nothing that's really holding my attention right now. I'm really hoping that something interesting will happen soon. Fingers crossed this goes well for me. It would be lovely for this book to surprise me and end up being something that I actually really enjoy. Historically has not happened. I can't really think of a YA contemporary horror thriller that I've enjoyed, but I also haven't tried that many. So maybe this one will end up being really good. Who knows? We'll find out shortly. Alright, that was good. That was really good, actually. I am very surprised by it. Also, Grinch shirt for the win, and I do in fact have on matching pajama pants. Full disclosure, it's been like a week since I finished Clown in a Cornfield. I totally forgot to update this vlog, but we're here now. It's fine, and I'm also now in full Christmas celebration mode. I can have one last night of Halloween by watching Clown in a Cornfield tonight, and then it'll be full steam ahead for the Christmas season following this. But anyways, this book, excellent. I actually really enjoyed this. I'm giving it a 4-star just because the first 30-ish%, hello Tony, because the first 30-ish% was quite slow. And when I do read things like horror and thrillers, I prefer for things to kind of get going a little bit sooner, or at least build the atmosphere a bit sooner. 30% is kind of a long time to go with very little happening. But aside from that, this plot was so well done. It was interesting. It kept me really engaged. I did predict the very, very, very first reveal, and then absolutely everything after that was a complete surprise. I didn't see a single thing coming. There were moments where I was like on the edge of my seat, so tense and just stressed out, especially in the very, very end of it. Obviously not going to give spoilers, but something to do with a certain character who was potentially in danger, and I didn't know which way it was going to go. This character was either going to be fine or they were not going to be fine, and I was stressed about it. The last maybe 20% of the audiobook, I was just lying in bed staring at the ceiling, so gripped by this book that I wasn't even doing anything. I was just lying there listening to it. So definitely a successful read. I really, really enjoyed this one, and I'm really happy that my enjoyment of the slasher genre does translate to books once in a while, and maybe going forward I'll actually give some them a shot from time to time, and I'll definitely read the sequels to this book as well. The ending of this one had me quite intrigued to see where things go. But that is that on the book. I am making some dinner right now. It's just about ready. I'm making roasted acorn squash with Brussels sprouts, and it's covered in Parmesan cheese, and I'm excited about it. So that's the plan for tonight, and I will let you know once I've finished the movie. I finished the movie, and it was significantly less good than the book was. I did still like it. I had a good time. Funnily enough, it was kind of reverse of the book, where I liked the first half of the movie better than the second half. I think the second half kind of went a little bit downhill, mainly in the acting. I didn't find the acting to be phenomenal. It was fine. But I feel like the humor just didn't quite land. They kept trying to make these random jokes that just really didn't feel like it fit with the tone. Like, I know that it's a slasher movie and there is often humor in slashers, but typically the humor in slasher movies, at least that I've seen, still feels like it fits. It still feels believable. Like it's something that somebody would actually say in that moment. Whereas a lot of these just felt like they were reading their lines. You know what I mean? I liked the way that it was shot. I think that was done very well. That the actual camera work was done very well. But everything else about it was just a little bit off, you know? And again, same issue as the book is that I really didn't like the pacing of this one. While the book started off really slow, it had that first 30%. In the book, once things got good, they stayed good. And the punches just kept coming over and over and over again. And the tension was fantastic in the book. Whereas in the movie, a lot of things that made the book really good were cut out. Just like little lines and character development and relationships that formed were cut out of the movie. And it was those things that made the book really engaging like that. So the movie just kind of ended up feeling more satirical, and I don't think that's what it was going for. And again, like, it wasn't a bad movie, it just was not as good as it could have been, and it definitely wasn't as good as the book. And yeah, again, just like with the pacing, even just the timing of certain conversation, like there was a certain reveal between two characters that came kind of at the very end of the book, and in the movie it was kind of just randomly thrown in the middle. It just really threw off the pacing because it was not at all believable that that conversation would be happening at that exact moment. I'm trying to be vague with the details, but yeah, it just didn't feel right to have that conversation be happening right then. And it was just little things like that where they differed from the book in a way that didn't quite make sense. I am all for the movie kind of differing from the book wherever it needs to, because of course things don't always translate the same on page as it does to screen. So sometimes things have to be changed around a little bit to make more sense in a narrative way. But in the majority of the examples with this movie, the choices that they made to change things up from the book really didn't make sense and were actually a detriment to the movie. But it was still a fun time. It was enjoyable. Some of the jokes landed, most of them didn't, but a couple of them did get at least a bit of a chuckle out of me, so that was nice. But overall, the book was way better, and that was honestly a surprise with this endeavor. I thought I was going to love the movie and really dislike the book, but complete opposite results here, so that's nice for a change. I'm really happy that I enjoyed the book of this one. And the movie was good enough that if the sequels do get made into movies, I'll still watch them. But overall, kind of a lackluster movie, but a really great book that I'm looking forward to the sequels for. So I'll take a win wherever I can get it. But that'll do it for this round of Page to Screen. If you have read or watched Clown in a Cornfield, let me know your thoughts on it down below. I would love to see if we agree or not. But in the meantime, thanks a bunch for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next video.